Story 1. I still don't know why I bought that house. The real estate agent called it a hidden gem. A tall Victorian beauty on a quiet street, paint peeling just enough to look romantic, windows like watchful eyes. Sarah fell in love the moment she saw the wraparound porch. We had just got married, pockets light, but hearts full of stupid, happy dreams. We signed the papers without thinking twice. That was our first mistake. The first night, we were too tired to sleep properly. Boxes everywhere, pizza on the floor, laughing about how adult we finally felt. Then, somewhere past midnight, I heard it. A soft murmuring, like someone talking in the next room. I thought it was wind slipping through the old walls. Sarah didn't hear anything. She was already asleep, curled against me, breathing slow and steady. I closed my eyes and told myself it was nothing. Next morning, Sarah woke up scratching her arms. Thin red lines ran from her wrists to her elbows, like fingernails had dragged across her skin. "Must have been the cardboard boxes," she said, laughing it off. I kissed the marks and forgot about them. But the whispers came back every night. At first, they were just noise, soft, overlapping voices, too quiet to make out words. I started staying awake longer, listening. One night, I swear I heard my name, just once. Tom. Like a sigh. I sat up, heart racing, but the room was empty. Days turned into weeks. The whispers grew clearer, sharper. They started saying things only Sarah and I knew. Things we had never told anyone else. My stupid affair 2 years before we met. How ashamed I still felt. Sarah's childhood, the nights she hid under the bed while her father screamed at her mother. The voices repeated them calmly, gently, like bedtime stories. We stopped laughing about the house being romantic. We started sleeping with the lights on. We fought all the time now. I accused her of recording my confessions and playing them back. She cried and said I was trying to make her think she was crazy. Neither of us believed the other. Trust cracked like old plaster. One night I woke up and Sarah wasn't beside me. I found her in the living room, standing in the dark, face pressed to the wall. Her lips were moving. She was answering the whispers. I called her name. Nothing. She just murmured back, soft and sweet, like talking to a child. I pulled her away. She blinked, confused, no memory of it. I set up my phone to record the wall that night. In the morning, we played it back together. Our voices were there. Mine asking questions, Sarah's sleepy replies, but underneath them ran a third voice, high, light, giggling, a child. Clear as day, it said. You'll stay with us forever, eternal company. We didn't sleep after that. We searched online, called libraries, begged anyone who would listen. Finally, an old historian agreed to visit. He walked through the rooms, face growing paler with every step. When he reached the main wall in the living room, he touched it gently and whispered, "This was never a house. It was an asylum. In 1887, they ran out of money. Instead of releasing the patients, they walled them up, alive, dozens of them, mostly children." That night, the whispers stopped being quiet. They became loud, angry, begging. The walls started to breathe. I swear they moved in and out, slow and heavy. Plaster cracked, dust rained down. Sarah grabbed my hand and screamed my name, but the floor shook and the room folded in on itself. The walls bulged toward us like soft flesh. Fingers, thin, gray, skeletal, pushed through the cracks, reaching. They scratched at Sarah's arms again, deeper this time, pulling. I tried to hold her. I swear I tried. But more hands came, dozens, wrapping around her waist, her legs, her throat. She looked at me, eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream as they dragged her backward into the wall. The plaster closed over her like water. One last hand waved, small, like a child's, before vanishing. I ran. I fell down the stairs, burst through the front door, and kept running until my lungs burned. I never went back. People think I'm crazy now. I live in a tiny apartment, walls painted bright white, no patterns, no cracks, but I still hear them, every night. The whispers follow me. Sometimes Sarah's voice begs me to come home. Sometimes the child giggles and promises I'll never be alone. I know one day the walls here will start breathing too. And when they do, I won't run anymore. Story 2. I never believed in ghosts until we moved into that house. Everyone said we were lucky. My uncle died and left us enough money to buy a big ranch-style home out in the countryside, far from the noisy city. Me, Lisa, Emma, and little Jack, we were so excited. The house had wide green fields around it, a tire swing in the yard, and best of all, a huge, unfinished basement the kids could turn into a playground. The day we moved in, Emma and Jack ran straight downstairs, shouting about all the old toys they found scattered on the concrete floor, dusty dolls, wooden trains, a rusty jack-in-the-box. I smiled, thinking some family before us just forgot them. That first afternoon, Emma came up laughing. Jack keeps giggling down there, but when I look, he's hiding. Jack swore he wasn't giggling. We thought it was just kids being kids. A few nights later, things changed. I woke to the sound of a door slamming hard downstairs, the basement door. Lisa checked, nothing. But a bad smell drifted up, like wet earth and something rotten. The next morning, toys weren't where the kids left them. The doll sat on the stairs, staring up. The train circled the floor by itself. Emma said she heard giggling again, closer this time, right behind her. I went down to fix it. Behind an old wooden panel, one nail loose, I found a crawl space I never noticed before. I crawled in with a flashlight and almost threw up. Child-sized bones lay piled in the corner, small skulls cracked, tiny fingers curled. Next to them were faded black and white photos, a family from the 1950s smiling outside this same house, and one picture of a thin, wild-eyed boy hiding behind them. The realtor never mentioned any of this. That night, Jack disappeared. We searched every room, screaming his name. Hours later, Lisa found him in the basement, curled near the crawl space, covered head to toe in dirt. His eyes were wide and empty. He kept whispering, "My friend lives in the dark. He's so hungry." Lisa started seeing things after that. A pale, skinny boy with long nails and tangled hair, crawling on all fours. She said he looked starved, ribs showing, mouth always open like he was begging for food. She woke up crying, saying she dreamed the family in the 1950s locked their sick son down there during hard times, left him to die quiet so no one would know. The voice trick started soon after. I'd be in the kitchen and hear Lisa call Mike, "Come downstairs quick." Clear as day. I'd run down, nobody there. Emma heard me calling her to play in the basement. Jack heard Emma asking him to come hide with her friend. We stopped trusting any voice we heard. One evening, the power went out. Total black. We lit candles upstairs, held the kids close. Then Emma screamed, a real tearing scream from the basement. We raced down with flashlights shaking in our hands. The crawlspace panel hung open. Dirt dragged across the floor toward it. Emma's fingers scratched the edge, nails broken and bleeding as something pulled her inside. I grabbed her legs. Lisa grabbed me. We pulled with everything we had. For a second, I saw it. A gray, bony arm wrapped around her waist, long black nails digging in. A child's face, twisted and furious, hissed right at me. Then the darkness swallowed her. Her screams faded deeper, like she was falling forever. We ran out of that house with only Jack, got in the car, and drove until sunrise. We found a small apartment in the city, new locks, bright lights, no basement at all. But Jack isn't the same. He sits in corners now, whispering to someone we can't see. He followed us, Jack says, smiling at empty air. My friend was lonely. He likes it here better. More kids nearby. At night, I smell that wet earth smell again. Faint, but growing. Sometimes the closet door creaks open just a little, and when I check on Jack, His eyes shine in the dark, too wide, too hungry. I know he's waiting. The thing that lives in the dark isn't done with us. It's only getting started. Story 3. I always thought mirrors just showed what was real. When Jordan and I got married, we wanted something modern, something ours. We found this perfect loft downtown, high ceilings, open space, and walls covered in huge mirrors that made the place feel twice as big. The realtor said the previous owner was an eccentric magician who installed them all himself. We laughed, took selfies in the endless reflections, and moved in that same week. The first day we were unpacking, dancing around boxes. Jordan caught me staring at my reflection and teased, "You look like there's 2 of you already." I joked back that one of me was enough trouble. But that night, as we lay in bed, I noticed something odd. My reflection in the bedroom mirror moved a second late, just a tiny lag, like a bad video call. I blinked hard. It caught up. I told myself it was tired eyes. By the second evening, Jordan saw it too. She was brushing her hair, and her reflection smiled when she didn't. A small, secret smile, like it knew something she didn't. She turned to me, pale. "Did you see that?" I hadn't, but I checked every mirror after she fell asleep. Nothing. Still, the air felt heavy, like someone else was breathing in the room. Days passed, and the mirrors started playing tricks. We'd walk past one and see a version of ourselves standing still, watching, or arguing loudly when we were sitting quietly on the couch. Once I saw Jordan's reflection kiss another me, one I didn't know was there, while the real Jordan was in the kitchen making coffee. I shouted her name. She ran in, confused. The mirror showed only us, normal again. Then the bloody handprints began. Smears across the glass, fresh and wet, always gone when we touched them. We wiped the mirrors anyway, over and over. Jordan started covering them with sheets at night. I searched online and found old articles about the magician who lived here. He was obsessed with portals, believed mirrors connected to other worlds. He died in a freak accident, cut to pieces by broken glass, no witnesses. We stopped looking at each other the same way. I caught myself watching Jordan, wondering if she was really her. She did the same to me. Sleep became impossible. We argued about nothing, voices rising, and in every mirror around us, our reflections screamed worse things. Betrayals we hadn't committed yet. One night, I woke up alone. The bedroom mirror glowed faintly. I walked toward it, half asleep, thinking it was the bathroom door. My reflection reached out first. Its hand came through the glass like water, cold fingers grabbing my wrist. I stumbled forward and fell in. Suddenly, I was inside a maze of mirrors, endless copies stretching forever. Dozens of Jordans stared back, some crying, some smiling with knives, some with bruised necks like I'd hurt them. They whispered my failures, my secrets, things I'd never told anyone. One version ran at me, glass shards for teeth. I ran, heart pounding, smashing into reflections that bled but didn't break. Back in the real loft, Jordan heard my screams from inside the mirror. She grabbed a lamp and swung it hard. Glass exploded everywhere. Shards flew into her arms, her face, her eyes. For a moment, she saw me trapped, reaching out. Then the mirrors pulled her too, pieces digging deeper, dragging her toward the cracks. We both crawled out somehow, bleeding and shaking, covered in cuts that wouldn't stop burning. We left that night, never went back. Doctors stitched us up, said we were lucky to be alive, but we're not the same. Skin healed, but every shiny surface, windows, phones, spoons, shows something wrong. A delay, a smile that isn't ours. Sometimes I catch Jordan staring at a darkened screen, whispering to the blank reflection. Sometimes she catches me doing the same. We don't talk about it anymore. We avoid mirrors, cover them when we can. But at night, when the room is quiet, I hear glass shifting behind the sheets. Soft footsteps. Another version of us, waiting for the right moment to switch places. I don't know which one of us is real anymore, maybe neither. Story 4. I thought inheriting a mansion would change our lives for the better. We were broke, scraping by in a tiny apartment. Me, Sophia, our daughter Mia, and my parents who moved in after Dad's stroke. Then the letter came. A distant uncle I'd never met left us his sprawling estate in the hills, gardens blooming like paradise. We packed up fast, laughing about our luck. The house was massive, stone walls covered in ivy, rooms smelling of old wood and flowers. That first day we explored like kids, Mia snapping photos of the rose bushes. No one mentioned the faint buzzing in the air. By evening, ants trailed across the kitchen wall, forming weird shapes, almost like letters. We joked it was nature's art. Spiders spun webs in corners, threads twisting into faces that looked human, eyes empty. Mom swatted them away, calling it a country thing. We sprayed bug killer and went to bed. Mia woke us that night, screaming. She clawed at her mouth, spitting out tiny beetles. They were whispering, she gasped, voice shaking. Words I couldn't understand, like another language. We checked her room, nothing. Sophia held her, saying it was a nightmare. But Mia's lips were swollen, dotted with bites. We called it a fluke, blamed the open windows. Days blurred into unease. More insects, flies buzzing in patterns, centipedes slithering under doors. The gardens wilted overnight, leaves chewed to lace. My parents stayed inside, Dad wheezing about the bad air. I dismissed it as pests until Mia refused to eat, saying bugs watched her from the vents. I grabbed a shovel one afternoon, digging up the garden to find the source. Soil turned easy, then hit something hard. I unearthed bones, human, mummified, wrapped in decayed cloth. Dozens of them, skulls cracked, bodies twisted. And eggs, pale, pulsing orbs clustered in ribs and sockets, like parasitic hives. I vomited there, hands shaking. Sophia ran out, saw it, and we called the cops. But a local historian arrived first, eyes wide. This land was an ancient burial ground, he said. Conquistadors slaughtered the tribe here centuries ago. The shaman cursed it, said the earth would rise and consume the invaders' kin. We laughed it off nervously, but that night, hell broke loose. Swarms poured from vents, walls, floors, ants, wasps, beetles in a black cloud. They buzzed loud, a hum like voices chanting. My parents screamed as bugs crawled over them. I swatted wildly, but they burrowed, into ears, noses, skin. Pain exploded as something wriggled under my arm. Sophia grabbed Mia, running for the door, but the insects formed barriers, walls of writhing bodies. I felt them inside me first, a itch turning to fire. My vision blurred, eyes filled with movement, larvae, hatching. They twisted my thoughts, made my arms jerk like a puppet. Sophia stared in horror as I turned, not me anymore. My mouth opened, but the words weren't mine. Join us. I lunged at her, hands clawing, black ooze dripping from my eyes. Dad was already gone, body convulsing on the floor, skin bulging with hives. Mom wailed as spiders cocooned her. Mia broke free, barricading herself in the bathroom. Sophia fought me off with a lamp, shattering it on my head, blood mixed with bugs spilling out. But the swarm was smart, a hive mind. It predicted Mia's moves, seeping under the door, crawling up pipes. She screamed as they filled the room, whispering those alien words again, pulling her down. Sophia dragged me outside somehow, fire in her hands, a can of gas and matches. We torched the house, flames roaring as insects screeched. Mia burst out last, covered in welts, coughing smoke. My parents didn't make it. We watched the estate burn, thinking it was over, but the curse followed. In our new motel, phantom itches started. Scratches appeared overnight, no bugs in sight. Mia whispers to herself now, words like the ones from her mouth that night. Welts rise on our skin, pulsing, as if eggs wait inside. Sophia cries in the dark, picking at her arms until they bleed. I feel them moving under my flesh, controlling twitches, making me stare at my family with hunger. One day soon, we'll turn on each other again. The shaman's revenge isn't done. It's eating us alive from the inside out. I scratch as I write this, feeling the hatch. Story 5. I never wanted to be the wicked stepmother. When Ben asked me to move in with him and his boys after the divorce, I said yes because I loved him. Tyler was 14, quiet and watchful. Cody was 12, all energy and loud laughs. We found a cozy 2-story house in a small town, cheap, charming, with a big attic full of old furniture the previous owners left behind. The boys claimed it right away as their fort. I was happy they had space to play. I thought it would help us bond. The first week, everything felt normal. We'd hear laughter drifting down from the attic while the boys were upstairs building castles out of dusty chairs. Cody's high giggle, Tyler's deeper chuckle. It made the house feel alive. Ben smiled at me across the dinner table like we were finally a real family. Then the echoes started repeating things they shouldn't. One evening, Ben and I argued quietly in the kitchen about money. Nothing big, just stress. Later, while the boys played upstairs, we heard my voice float down clear as day. I can't stand living with those kids. They're not mine. I froze. I had never said that out loud. Ben stared at me, hurt flashing in his eyes. I swore it wasn't me. He didn't believe me at first. Next day, Tyler came down angry, saying he heard Ben tell Cody he was the favorite son, the smart one. Ben denied it. Cody looked confused, then hurt. We all started watching each other differently. Private talks downstairs came back twisted, louder, meaner, pouring from the attic like poison. I went up alone one afternoon to clean. Behind a heavy wardrobe, I found an old phonograph, Bighorn, thick black records stacked beside it. The labels were faded, but one read, Family Memories 1927. I didn't play it. Something felt wrong. That night, it started on its own. Soft voices at first, a mother scolding, a father shouting, children crying. Then screams, real, terrible screams that shook the whole house. Windows cracked. We ran upstairs, but it stopped the moment we opened the attic door. We searched the records after that. Articles online told the story. A family lived here in the 1920s, cut off by snow for months. Isolation drove them mad. Father killed everyone, then himself. They say the house recorded it all somehow. The echoes got worse. They fed on our fears. Ben heard me planning to leave him. The boys heard us talking about sending them away. We stopped speaking freely. We barely spoke at all. One stormy night, thunder crashing, Cody screamed from the attic. Not an echo, a real scream. We raced up. He was floating near the rafters, feet kicking air, hands clawing at nothing around his neck. Invisible fingers pulled him higher. His voice echoed everywhere. "Help me, Daddy! Rachel, please!" But it wasn't just his voice anymore. Others joined, children from long ago, begging, accusing. Tyler grabbed a ladder, climbed fast to reach him. The moment he touched Cody, the air turned ice cold. Shadows formed, ghostly figures of that old family, pale and furious. The father pointed at Ben. The mother glared at me. The children reached for Tyler and Cody with broken, desperate hands. They whispered, we had to stay, relive it, finish what was started. Cody slipped from Tyler's grip. He vanished into the dark between beams, his scream cutting off sharp. Tyler fell, barely caught by Ben. We ran downstairs, grabbed what we could, and fled into the rain. Tyler cried the whole drive away. We never went back. The house burned down weeks later. Lightning, they said, but Cody's voice followed us. In our new place, it starts soft. Laughter from empty rooms. Then phrases we say come back wrong, angry. Tyler wakes screaming Cody's name. Ben hears me confessing I hate the boys. I hear him planning to leave me. At night, Cody whispers from the ceiling, "Come play in the attic. It's lonely here." We know it's calling us back to the ruins, to finish the story. One by one we'll answer. I can hear him now, giggling above my bed. He's waiting. Story 6. I always said retirement should be quiet, but that house made silence scream. Margaret and I had worked our whole lives for this. Me fixing cars until my back gave out, her teaching kindergarten until the kids' noise became too much. We dreamed of slow days, me with my old books, her with her knitting needles clicking softly. When Emily's husband walked out, leaving her alone and 8 months pregnant, we didn't hesitate. We sold our little city house, pooled everything, and bought that historic bungalow by the river. It was beautiful in the photos. Wide porch, wrap-around garden, polished wooden floors that glowed like honey in the sunlight. The price was suspiciously low for its age, but we told ourselves it was luck. Emily moved in with us the week little Grace was born, 4 generations under one roof. We thought it would heal us all. The first few days felt like a blessing. The floors creaked warmly when we walked, like the house was stretching after a long sleep. Grace's tiny cries echoed gently off the high ceilings. Margaret hummed lullabies while rocking her. Emily smiled for the first time in months. I sat on the porch, watching fireflies dance over the river. Peace, finally. Then the dark spots appeared, small at first, like spilled coffee in the hallway. I scrubbed them with bleach, but they came back darker, wetter. One morning, Margaret shuffled to the kitchen in her slippers. She stepped on a fresh patch near the sink. Her foot slid out from under her. The crack of her hip breaking echoed louder than her scream. I caught her before she hit the floor completely, but the damage was done. As I held her, waiting for the ambulance, I wiped the stain from her housecoat. My fingers came away red, bright, fresh red. Margaret, pale and shaking, touched her lips where some had splashed. "Harold," she whispered, "it tastes metallic, like blood." The hospital kept her for weeks. Pins, plates, painkillers. When she came home on crutches, the stains had spread, pooling in corners, creeping along baseboards like veins. Emily joked nervously about haunted houses, but her eyes darted to Grace's crib. I blamed old pipes, rust, anything sensible. But at night, the creaks changed. They became rhythmic, slow, like a heartbeat under the floorboards. The first full moon, the pulsing started. I woke to a wet sound, like waves lapping. The bedroom floor throbbed beneath our bed, wood swelling and sinking, veins bulging under the varnish. Crimson liquid seeped up between the planks, warm and thick. It rose to our ankles before we could move. We mopped frantically with towels, buckets, anything, but it kept coming, filling the house with the smell of iron and old pennies. Terrified, I waited for daylight and pried up floorboards in the living room. Underneath lay horror, runes carved deep into the joists, symbols twisted like screams in agony. Yellowed papers fluttered out, hospital records from 1863. This bungalow had been a field hospital during the Civil War. Hundreds of wounded soldiers dragged here, no anesthesia, no hope. Limbs sawn off on these floors, men bleeding out while surgeons worked by candlelight. The wood soaked it all in. Locals whispered the house never let the pain go. It held it, fed on it, waited for new suffering to join the old. The hallucinations began slowly. Emily saw it first. She screamed one afternoon, rushing to snatch Grace from her playmate. "She was crawling into it," she sobbed. "The blood! It opened like a mouth!" There was only a stain, but Grace's tiny hands were red. Margaret started seeing shadows in doorways, uniformed figures with saws and bandages. She clutched her hip, swearing they touched her fracture, twisting the pins. Me? The worst came at night. I relived battles I never fought. Cannon fire roared in my ears. I smelled gunpowder and rot. Men beside me gutted, begging for water. I'd wake trying to staunch wounds that weren't there, my hands sticky with blood that vanished in morning light. Grace cried constantly now, her wails sounding like distant battlefield moans. The floors flooded higher each full moon, forcing us to sleep upstairs, then on furniture, then barely at all. The night it claimed Margaret, the moon hung huge and red. She lay in bed, feverish from pain. The pulsing grew violent, floors buckling like a living thing. Blood rose fast, a crimson tide surging from every crack. It filled the room to our waists, warm as bathwater, thick as syrup. Margaret slipped under, gasping my name. I grabbed her arms, pulling with all my remaining strength, but spectral figures rose from the flood. Ghost surgeons in ragged gray uniforms, faces hollow, tools glinting with old rust. They bent over her without mercy. Scalpels sliced skin, saws bit bone. She screamed raw, awake for every cut as they operated on her broken hip, her chest, her throat. To ease the pain, one hissed, voice like grinding metal. Blood sprayed in arcs, mixing with the rising flood. Her eyes locked on mine, begging, until the red closed over her face. Emily burst in, Grace wailing in her arms. "Dad, we have to go!" The surgeons turned toward the baby's cry, hungry. We fled through the flood, blood to our necks, bursting out the front door into cold night air. Behind us, the house groaned like a dying animal. Grace's cries followed us everywhere after that. Every wail drew blood from our pores, beading on skin, trickling from noses, eyes, ears. Tiny runes formed in the drops, burning. We hired crews to demolish the bungalow, watched bulldozers crush it to splinters, then burn the remains. Thought we'd killed it. But in our new apartment, sterile, modern, white tile floors, the stains return. Dark spots bloom under beds. Creaks echo from below, though we're on the third floor. Emily tastes metal constantly. Grace, barely a year old, stares at empty corners and reaches for invisible hands. At night, blood seeps from our skin in slow rivulets, pooling on sheets. I see surgeons waiting in shadows. Emily whispers about ending Grace's cries forever. Margaret's voice bubbles up through drains. "Harold, it still hurts. The curse didn't die with the house. It's in our blood now, and soon we'll bleed out together, eternal patience on an endless battlefield." For more stories like this, share and subscribe Goofy Horror.